When we're talking about this mental load, we just feel so exhausted and tired. And it's not because we're doing too much, it's just because we're holding too much. And our capacity has maxed out. You didn't do more to feel better. I think a lot of times we just feel like we need to do it all so we can get that quote unquote badge of honor at the end that says, I don't know how you do it all. You manage everything so well. You didn't do more to feel better. You actually carried less and you carried it differently. And that's the whole secret.
Freedom doesn't happen by accident, it's built. Welcome to Freedom by Design, where we explore what it really takes to create more freedom in your life, your business, and your relationships. We're Josh and Paula Kerpan, and this is intentional living done right.
Hey everyone, it's Paula here with Freedom by Design. Just want to welcome you back to the podcast. Hope you guys are all doing well. I thought I would come on here and record a short episode for you guys regarding the mental load that mothers carry. My Empower Her motherhood coaching group, we talk a lot about the load that we carry as mothers and the overwhelm that we experience by managing everything. And this is something as a mother of four amazing kids that I have experienced throughout motherhood and also in pursuit of goals and worthy ideal. I have found to be very overwhelmed at times with the amount of things that are inside of my head. Now, I know this is going to resonate with a lot of listeners, and I know that likely if you're a mother and you're listening to this, you can understand what I'm talking about. But this mental load that we carry is, things that maybe other people don't think of on a regular basis, but we kind of manage the household and manage our family in a certain way, and we think all of the time. Actually made a reel about this where I had like thoughts that were just popping up while I was actually recording myself. And it was things like needing to fill fuel in the car and making supper for a 4:45 p.m. ball game and making sure the laundry was done and paying this bill on the farm and reaching out to a client and. So the list is really never ending. And I just kind of popped into my brain. I thought this is just like a mental load that every mother carries. And I wanted to find a way and develop a tool to be able to help mothers navigate this. Because what I find is that a lot of times people tend to complain about all of the things and how busy they are. And we get into this kind of hustle culture. And I'm really busy, and we kind of almost hold it up on a pedestal. I get asked often, how do you manage doing all of these things? You're a rock star, you're a superstar, you can manage all of this stuff seamlessly, it appears. And I'm here to tell you that that's simply not the case. And there's a lot of just mental overwhelm that mothers experience, myself included. And I developed a tool to be able to use and actually shared it on some of my socials. And I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into this tool so that I can help you guys navigate and use it, because it's been extremely helpful for me to be able to categorize my thoughts. Because here's the thing, when you have so much going on in your mind, it is overwhelming, but the problem is nothing gets taken care of, right? So it's like we have 50 tabs open in our brain. We know what all of those tabs are. I know most mothers and friends that I have who are women know exactly the things that they're thinking and the timelines and all of that, but it's very rarely organized. So we have all of these tabs open in our brain, and we are constantly flitting back and forth between them because we haven't actually dealt with any of them. We are just thinking of them. So that takes a tremendous amount of energy when you are thinking about something, but you're not actually doing anything with it. So when we're talking about this mental load, we just feel so exhausted and tired. And it's not because we're doing too much, it's just because we're holding too much and our capacity has maxed out. So, why this is so hard to explain is because most of what we carry is invisible to the outside eye. Your partner doesn't see it necessarily. Your kids don't see it. Half the time, you don't even see it, but you know that you need to do these things. You kind of have this feeling in the back of your mind where you're like, oh, I know that I need to be doing something this week, but I can't remember what it is. or something's due at a certain time, but you don't have a system to be able to organize your thoughts and make sure that it gets done. And you feel this tremendous amount of weight, and you can call it mental load, you can call it mom guilt, you can call it just weight, you're feeling heavy, feeling really tired. But researchers actually have a name for it, and they call it the mental load. So it is the work of just running a life, running a household. It's not the doing, it is the noticing. That moms are always aware. They always remember when the appointments need to be booked or when things need to be handed in. It's the preemptive worrying that we do, that we notice that the toothpaste is almost out, that we notice that the milk is almost gone. And, we keep the calendar of who needs what and when they need it. And so our brain, therefore, never really clocks out, which is really interesting. And part of the reason why we just feel so exhausted all the time, because we never stop thinking about these thoughts because we haven't dealt with them in any sort of way. The only way that we're dealing with them is just by thinking about them. So it's not necessarily that you're doing everything, it's that you're remembering everything. And that remembering really has a cost. So you can potentially hand off a task, but you can't hand off the awareness that the task exists. So that's the part that stays with you. And that's the one that you think of at 2 in the morning that wakes you up. That's the stuff that you think of in the shower, when you're driving in the car. That is the mental load. And one thing that I want to say out loud, because I think everybody needs to hear this, is that somewhere along the way, a lot of us picked up this belief. Something like this: if I were more organized, if I were more disciplined, if I were more on top of it, if I were more like Sally, I wouldn't feel this way. So naturally, we try harder. We go faster, we do more, we stay up later, we have better lists, we try an app, we wake up earlier, we do all these things for a few days, and it maybe works. And then the load slowly creeps back in because the load was never a problem with you. The load is just really big. It overflows off of our plate and it's really undefined. And that's the problem. And it's running entirely inside of one person's head, which is a crazy thought to think of. But it's yours. It's your head. It's running entirely inside your head. So overwhelm isn't a character flaw. It's an unmanaged load. I'm going to say that again. Overwhelm isn't a character flaw. It's an unmanaged load. You do not have a discipline problem. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not a bad mother. You have a load that's simply never been emptied out, looked at, and sorted. Like I mentioned the tabs before, your brain is holding 40 open loops, open tabs, browser tabs, whatever, at one time. So naturally, because there's so much information in there, you aren't clearly thinking about any single one of them. You're thinking about the cumulative amount. It's not a weakness. That's just how your brain works. You have lots of thoughts floating around in there. You wouldn't run 40 browser tabs and expect your laptop to slow down. And your mind is simply no different. So here's the good news. If overwhelm is a load and not a flaw, then it's completely fixable. By becoming a different person, by learning how to put down the load on purpose. So I want to talk to you guys about the mental overload reset that I created. And this came out of desperation for me to try and find a system to put my thoughts and organize them outside of my brain. Because what was happening was I was feeling that overwhelm and I tried all of the things to manage this overwhelm and I just kept feeling more overwhelmed. Because here's the thing, life doesn't get less busy. It doesn't stop. It doesn't give you a break for a week to catch up. It just keeps going, keeps trudging along. So when you feel like you're drowning and you're in that overload, and then all of a sudden you feel guilty because it seems like all the other moms have their crap together and you don't, that's simply not the case. Everybody is struggling with this because there's just so much going on in our lives. And one thing that really helped me was really narrowing in on my goal and what it was that I want to achieve myself, as well as a family vision to be able to say no to things that didn't align. That helped take a few things off my plate. But there's a lot of overwhelm that just comes with raising kids, raising a family, the mental worry also of just having the kids and wanting everything to go well and smoothly and run efficiently. And that's why I built this tool. So it's called the Mental Overload Reset. It's a simple one-page PDF. You can print it off. I'm going to put the link in the show notes below, but you can print it off. You can use it. I use it every single day, and it helps me take that overwhelm out of my brain and put it onto paper. I don't want you to just have it, however, because how many times have we used tools where we get them, we download the app, we get the piece of paper, and then we literally never use it again? It sits on our counter for a week and then we throw it out because it's clutter and it's overwhelming. But I want you to know how to use it. So let's actually do it together right now. I'm going to walk you through the steps. The whole thing runs on 5 steps, the 5 Ds: brain dump, define, drop, delegate, and delay, one at a time. Okay, so step 1, brain dump. First, you empty your head onto a piece of paper, in a notebook, wherever you want to keep all of these thoughts together. I really like to keep it together so that it's all in one place. Every single thing taking space up there. The big stuff, the tiny stuff, the little worries, the things that snagged you for a month. You don't organize it, you don't judge feelings, situations, circumstances, how long you left something. Don't judge. Put it out on paper. You just get it out. And here is why this step alone is so powerful. The moment that you write a worry or a thought down, your brain stops spending energy trying to hold it, remember it, recall it, right? So trust the paper to remember. So you're putting pen to paper. I'm an old school pen to paper gal. Putting pen to paper, having the thought out of your brain onto the paper. Step 1 is simply just to make the pile visible for you, okay? But don't judge, just put it all on paper, have it there. And then we move on to step 2, define. So now you go through that list and you define what each of these things actually is. So half of what feels overwhelming is just vague. So if you said deal with the school stuff, it feels heavy, but mostly because it's fuzzy. It's not defined enough, right? So maybe that actually means sign Casey's form and email it to his teacher. That's much lighter because it's simply something, a task that we can accomplish and cross off the list, right? It's one clear action. So your job in this step is to turn your clouds into tasks, into action steps. A defined task is something that your brain can finish. A vague worry or a cloud just hangs in there forever, never gets completed.
If you've been listening to this podcast, you already know something. You're built for more. The 100X Breakthrough Program is built for leaders, business owners, and growth-driven individuals who are ready to stop playing at the edge of their potential and start operating at a completely different level. If you know you're capable of more, but you're still stuck, this is your next step. Let's schedule an instant impact coaching session and see if the 100X Breakthrough Program is the right fit for you. Go to kznsolutions.ca. That's kznsolutions.ca.
Okay. Step 3 is drop. So this is the one that sets people free and honestly is the most freeing sensation. Like y'all know, I love writing lists. I love crossing things off of a list. This is really life-changing and sets people free. Sets that burden, gives it away. So you go down the list and you ask one honest question. Does this actually need to happen at all? Because a lot of the stuff that we think about is just stuff that we maybe should be doing or that somebody else's expectations have of us. And you can go through now that you've written them down and you can ask yourself this question: does this really actually need to happen at all? Do I need to be doing this at all? Right? So some of what we carry out of habit, which is just we're habitual beings. This is just how it is, right? Or we carry it out of guilt or because we think we're supposed to. So for example, maybe you need to bring a treat to school and Sally is bringing, she's probably going to make homemade cinnamon buns. So you think to yourself, well, I need to make something homemade. So, but that handmade thing could be store-bought. You could pick it up from a bakery. You could ask your mother-in-law to make it. You could do multiple different things, right? So there's a standard or expectation that nobody asked you to hold but you. And that might be hard to hear I know I've done this in the past where I'm like, I need to make all of this stuff because I'm a people pleaser and I'm an acts of service girl and I want to go and take the best thing to school. Well, maybe this week, your best thing that you could take to school is something that Costco made. And that doesn't make you a bad mom. It doesn't make you a bad person. That's simply what you could contribute at this time, right? So you're able to actually sit and define these things and give yourself permission to just draw a line through it. Get it off the list. Make it gone out of your head for good, right? Because some of the weight that we're carrying about that item is just the fact that we have this expectation that it needs to be a certain way, right? So every item you drop off is weight that you stop carrying forever, not just today, right? So you cross that off your list, it's gone, it's now out of your thoughts, right? Out of those clouds. And it's because we defined it and created a way to cross that off, whatever that looks like, right? Don't make up stories. Don't, think of different expectations that you should or shouldn't do based on somebody else's expectation of you. Just get it so that you can cross it off the list. Step 4 is delegate. So what's left, you can also look at and ask, does this have to be done by me? And I know this is really hard. I've had lots of conversation with good girlfriends of mine about letting stuff go. So let me be straight with you. Delegating isn't dumping. It isn't a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of leadership, which you might think is a bit of a stretch, Paula, but I believe that it's a sign of leadership. It's a sign that you are confident enough in your ability to let somebody else have the opportunity to take that task and run with it, and you're hands off, right? And so this can be really tricky if we're kind of like type A personalities where we want things done a certain way. But now we can give that task and give it to somebody else in our household. Let's use my 13-year-old as an example. Let him do his baseball laundry. So he washes his baseball pants now. Does he do it the same way I do? Probably not, even though I taught him how to do it, but probably not, right? Does he fold them and put them away in his drawer the way that I would? Probably not. But I am giving him the opportunity to take ownership for his belongings and to be organized enough to have that washed before his next game. And that's now a responsibility that he has. And I am telling you, kids really love feeling like they're part of the family and having activities and tasks that they can complete that makes them feel like they're contributing. They're not going to do it the same way you are, but that's okay. It's still going to get done, right? The goal was never for you to be the only person who can run your household. The goal is simply for the household to run. Just has to run. Doesn't matter who does it. You got to let that go. You can share the load without lowering the standard, right? So your partner can own a whole category, right? And not just help when asked. Assign a task. Have him take ownership for Tuesday night suppers or whatever that looks like in your schedule. And again, the kids can carry age appropriate weight. We can even do this with younger kids. Like we often think that they have to be 13 years old, like my oldest, but my youngest, she will be 6 in August. And if I give her a task, she loves being able to say that she's completed it, comes back and completes it. Does she put the toys away the same way I do? No. Does she mix up the book bin and the toy bin in the living room? Yes. Drives me crazy? Yes. But for me, it's done. It's off of the living room floor and she's completed that task. She feels really proud. One thing off my list, right? That is not me being lazy. That is me raising capable humans and showing them how to contribute to a household, right? So when you can delegate something, hand off the whole thing, the noticing included, not to remind them to do it. That's still your load if you're still having to do that. Hand them the awareness too. And I know there'll be some of you that have a little voice that's saying it's just easier if I do it myself. I hear you. I get it. It is easier today, but it's heavier every day after that. Because delegating costs you once, but it can pay you back for years, right? So step 5 is delay. The last step is delay. Whatever's still on the list, the real stuff, the things that matter, you don't have to do all of it right now. You give each one a when. So not everything is urgent. Most things aren't, I would argue. They just feel urgent because they're all in your head and you think you should do them, right? So they're screaming at the same volume when they're in that cloud in your head and you have all of those thoughts. But when you give something a time frame or a date, a when, you give your brain permission to stop thinking about it. You are delaying it till later, right? And this is where a notebook is handy because then you can make sure that you go back to these tasks and make sure those delays get done. Put it in your calendar right away. If you delay something till August, then you put that in your calendar August 1st and say, pick up this task and complete it by the date. So look at what we just did, and it did not take very long, you guys. This does not have to take a long period of time at all. But you took that 6:45 in the morning avalanche of thoughts and you're feeling behind the minute you put your feet on the floor. You're taking that feeling and you just ran it through 5 steps. So you dumped it all out so you could see it and visualize. You defined the fuzzy parts so they become actionable tasks. You dropped what didn't need to exist. You delegated what wasn't yours to carry alone. And you delayed what was real, but not urgent. So, what's left isn't an overwhelming life. It's a short list of clear next steps. Same life, completely different weight. And here's what I want you to hear most of all is you didn't do more to feel better. I think a lot of times we just feel like we need to do it all so we can get that quote unquote badge of honor at the end that says, well, I don't know how you do it all. You manage everything so well. Like, I think we want to hear that, right? But you didn't do more to feel better. You actually carried less and you carried it differently. And that's the whole secret. And I would also argue to say that if you are doing less, you're probably doing the things that you're doing better, more efficiently, in a better way, with a better mindset around it because you're not feeling that overwhelm. That's the whole secret. Freedom isn't doing it all. Freedom is designing a life that you don't have to hold all at once. Because the question that I get the most about setting a goal for yourself as a mother is simply that they're too busy. I don't have enough time. I'm already juggling all of these things. How could I possibly manage adding something more to my plate for myself? I will just table my stuff because it feels selfish to want more. And then I'll just do all the stuff for my kids. That's not freedom to me, right? Freedom is allowing yourself to be expressed creatively in whatever way you want, whether that's starting a business, learning how to play the guitar, signing up for a half marathon, going to a painting class, whatever that looks like for you, your goal, it needs to resonate with you and have desire pulled out of you. But in order to do that, we need to design the rest of your life so that you're not holding everything all at once. So it doesn't all fall on you every single day. So here's what I want you to do this week. Do not wait until your head is exploding. And if you're already at that point, stop, print off the document, get yourself a notebook, pick an evening this week, and like it can be 10 quiet minutes. Like just figure out a time where you can grab that amount of time. Sit down and just run this reset. Brain dump, define, drop, delegate, delay. One pass. Don't overthink it. Don't think you have to have so many things in your brain dump, like whatever you're thinking at the top, but like just write till you're not writing anymore and then go through the 4 steps after that. And I've made this mental overload worksheet for you for free. It's going to walk you through all of the 5 steps with the space to actually write it out. Color coded for all you gals out there that love that. You can use highlighters as well. But the link's going to be in the show notes and it's going to give you space to actually write all of these things out, go through these steps. Download it, print it, laminate it, keep it on your fridge, in your bag, in that notebook where you'll reach for it on the heavy days. But my goal is for you to reach for it every day. I do this every single morning and it has helped tremendously in having like myself having a better attitude during the day. I'm a more patient parent during the day. I have a better handle on the things that I need to be doing during the day because I know where all of these thoughts are in the categories that I mentioned. So if this named something you've been feeling but couldn't put into words, share it with another mom. Share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Honestly, sometimes the most loving thing you can do is just to tell another woman, it's not you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not a bad mom just because you feel like you're drowning. You're not failing. You were never meant to carry everything all at once, all alone. Let's design something lighter. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. This is Freedom by Design. I'm Paula Kerpan. Go easy on yourself this week, you guys. You're doing a phenomenal job much better job than you think. And we're all here rooting for you. The best moms. I know the best moms in the world. So have a great week, you guys. Let me know if you try out the mental reset sheet. Link is in the show notes. Can't wait to hear what you think.
We appreciate you being part of Freedom by Design. If this conversation added value, help us spread the love. Take a second to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. The more intentional we become, the more freedom we create in our homes, our work, and our future. We'll see you next time. God bless.